I think there's a huge interest in archiving. I hear people talk about it a lot. They're either archiving their personal life or, interested in visiting archives. A lot of our trans and queer history is being actively erased. So that's why I want to do this. I want to be a source.
So, Allie, I don't know why I said it like that. Allie.
Yes.
So we recently talked to the incredible Sasha Fuentes about his archival work and his printmaking and his zine series.
He has such a rich collection of like queer memorabilia, and he took us through some of it. And it was so clear that they had like this encyclopedic knowledge of these really rare materials. Feels like ultimately this was a conversation about how preserving queer print media and zine making, it can be seen as like a political act right now.
Absolutely. And like for those of us maybe who like don't have contact with queer elders, it's like this is the way that we kind of engage with our history, which I think is so important.
Yeah, for better, for worse.
Yeah, exactly. For better, for worse. Because in this episode, we do kind of get into the realm and talk about like turfy butch lesbians and like that history. So we just kind of wanted to give you a little bit of like a heads up about that.
Yeah. I'll also say that for myself, whenever I hear TERF, I hear hate for trans women. Just because that's like so in the media. But what we're specifically talking about in this is maybe some older butch lesbians that are not accepting of trans men.
Exactly.
So just as that disclaimer.
Yes. And we're actually going to kind of continue the conversation with a special guest at the very end of the episode.
I'm Sasha Fuentes. My Instagram handle and my DJ name is 36Sashia. I'm excited you invited me here today to talk about my archive, so I'll like focus on that. But I do a lot of things: DJing, printmaking. I have like a cassette tape label, lots of things.
Period. What pronouns do you use?
He, they. I
Okay,
feel
cool.
like I get more heed now, but yeah, he, they.
How does that feel?
Interesting. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm like in the point of the transition where like the public is like he. So like a they or like a she slip up is very rare recently.
Yeah.
It feels cool. Feels cool. I still have the titties though, so
Yeah.
I'll be like, today it's the girls' room.
Right.
Nothing makes me want to like detransition more than going in the men's bathroom.
Oh, that's real. It's disgusting.
So scary in there.
And like I wear a lot of tank tops and button ups, so before I go in the girls' room, I'll like button it open, like make, puff them out
You're
a
like,
bit.
Totally. Oh my God. The way that I change the way I walk when I want to use the women's room, I think I just kind of look like a gay man. Which I'm like, I don't think the math is mathing.
you're like, sissy that one.
I'm kind of like death drop under the stall. Don't even open
No,
the door. No, I'm kidding.
death drop like air dryer, like.
What is your kind of like journey been through gender? Like you were saying, like now you're at the point where it's he. Like, what does that look like for you?
Well, I'm coming up at the end of June on 2 years of injections, but
Okay.
I've been using non-binary pronouns since probably 2019, like 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It's been crazy. It's been frustrating. I think I'm in a good place now. I did something really crazy. It was like, I said I started in June, and it was until the next February I was celibate.
Wow.
Because you were like all new beginnings.
It was a lot of things. I think like I had a little hoe phase before that after like a crazy breakup, and like I was dealing with a lot of projections onto my masculinity.
Ooh.
I chose the celibacy because I think I had dealt with a lot of projections from past partners about what would happen once I started T, like sexuality changing, also like projections about like maybe getting like aggressive or like short-tempered. So I wanted to go inward. Like I didn't want my experience to be like co-opted by someone else and like their emotions to become like more important than mine during the process. And yeah, I mean, you're just like diabolically horny too. I didn't want to like put that on anyone. And it's hard being on the apps with titties. Like, I don't know. I decided to write a lot of erotica to deal with
Oh my God,
the,
amazing.
yeah, and like study, like use sex as like a study kind of.
Wow.
So yeah, the journey has been, it's been fun. It's been experimental too.
I so ID with that kind of like, there are kind of these like stories that are told about tea, and I'm kind of like, sure, maybe that happens to some people, or it's like a gradient, but it's not like you immediately become gay. You're so horny, like you're so aggressive, and like you totally change. And I don't like, I can see a lot of differences in myself, but I'm not like, there was no fundamental change. I'm like,
Right.
Yeah.
100% the same person. I actually wanted a little more change, you know? Like,
Yeah. You're like, that's it.
I'm like, oh, interesting. These things weren't just taken care of. But you were like, it's hard to be on the app with titties. I'm curious about that. Are you like, I love my titties?
I'm trying to get top surgery.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
like,
So it's kind of like you feel in between a
well,
little
at one
bit.
point, like I'm not on like Grinder and Scruff anymore, but on Scruff, I was like, I'm literally just gonna make my name like trans guy with tits. So that was like my screen name, and I was like faceless on Grinder because the bay is so small.
It's tiny.
Whoa.
But it gets very dysphoric trying to cruise as a gay man when you don't look cis passing. Being
Yeah.
a trans man at like Folsom or like in the gay club, it's even more of a fetishism for your like womanhood, if that's a good
Oh
way to put
God,
it.
totally.
Like just getting like a message like bonus hole question mark
Oh my God.
Stop.
No.
blocked like
No,
Right.
no.
or being like, oh yeah, if I can't like penetrate you, like I don't want to meet up.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's face.
Sorry. I have like nightmares about like the like Grinder and like
Yeah.
sniffies, and you're just kind of confirming.
It is. It's scary. Like, stay away. I don't know. I actually never met up with anyone off those because I was like, what's the protocol here? Like, I thought maybe the safest way would be like, let's meet in a car in public where I could
Yeah.
like, maybe run away or like stab
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, totally. Is that selling it, Babette? In a car so you can run away?
In a car. You like
Yeah.
drive into oncoming traffic.
I like stuff a fucking like broom in the rim before I like yeah, I gave up on that. I feel like it would have been more successful if I already had like a lot of facial hair or like big pecs or something.
Oh my God. Yeah, but that's kind of this whole
Other
thing about, I feel like, some of the gay male culture that's very like homogenous and pretty like cookie cutter, and you like your weirdest cutest friend ever is like comes out and all of a sudden he looks like a jock and you're like, okay, well, I'm really happy for you if that's what you wanted to look like, but this is crazy.
It's a journey.
It's a real journey.
I feel like there was still times where when my voice was really in the like puberty phase, I would lean into the highness or like the gayness of it just to like not seem too mask in like queer spaces or still like
Whoa.
wear a tight shirt that my titties showed because like I don't know, yeah, when you look more mask you get treated differently in specifically like queer lesbian spaces. So I was like, don't worry guys, like I'm still one of the girls, like you can trust me, like
Do you feel like you felt that and even in the Bay? Because in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, there's so many queer and trans people. But do you feel like you still felt that kind of shift, like being in like mostly lesbian spaces?
you know, maybe it was personal because I did
Yeah,
like
that's real.
I think it was more personal. I did talk to other like trans friends who like have either medically transitioned or not about it. And they were like, why are you doing that? Just lean into your voice and like, you know, get used to your new vocal cords or whatever. And So I
Yeah.
think, you kind of do deal with some personal worries that maybe sometimes aren't even being brought to you by others.
Yeah.
Totally. But it's hard to also know like what it's like to be scared of quote unquote men, right? And so I think you just like never want to do that to anyone else, you
Yeah.
know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really feel this way about like, so there are some like shortcuts or kind of like shorthand, I feel like that we get used to. So it's kind of like men suck. This is awful. Men are
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Then for me, the first reckoning with that was like slowly becoming more like a man medically. And then Sasha, my partner, and I are having a baby and we're having a boy. And this is my
God.
second reckoning with it where I'm just like, oh, men are the worst, can't work anymore. Like,
Right.
I'm just like, it's nice. It feels very like expanding.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited.
But yeah, I mean, maybe he'll transition.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what we're all praying for. Like Allie like whispers to the belly, like, be a girl. You're a fucking girl.
Just think about it. Just think about it.
Like you put out like the Tonka truck and
Yeah.
the Barbie, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna let you choose.
There's
But
one right answer.
Yeah,
honey.
exactly.
There's one right answer.
there is a right answer. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I've been kind of working with that stuff too, where I'm like, oh, some of these things I think are so easy and right, and they do ultimately cost me something. So some of it is just like anxiety in these spaces that I used to feel welcome in, that I still am, but I kind of feel weird in them. Or like,
It does. And then I like, yeah, I do like hype up the gay boy like vibe. Like I'm not just chilling. I'll be like, gay voice, gay hand. Like, hey girl.
yeah.
Oh my god, you look so good.
All of this is so funny because like Allie, when you were describing like walking in the women's bathroom, it's like all of this is so like gender essentialist and like
I know.
gay stereotypes. Like, it's just
Yeah.
like it's like, hey girlfriend.
Yeah,
Like,
literally.
it's kind of funny how much it's relying on like those heavy stereotypes,
It's like a
you know?
bad movie.
It's so funny. But that's what it is. Like it's all like signaling and signs and like trying to be read in a certain way. So it makes sense.
And it varies in spaces. Like, when you're with your other trans guy friends, or like when you're with your lesbian friends, or like, it is funny. I think I do hype up the flamboyance.
Yeah, definitely. Do you feel like you have any like rituals around feeling embodied?
I think in the beginning, like even before injections, I got a lot of suggestions about like dancing and like, maybe like a quick dance session in your bedroom, or like touching your body. But embodied, maybe like an article of jewelry or clothing that like really makes me feel sexy, like my little protection jewelry or something.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Like before going out or just also at home?
That's a good question. I feel like it's funny because back to that, like changing the voice, like at home, I would be just in a t-shirt and jeans, and then going out, I'm like, okay, we have to wear something tight on like
Yeah,
the
totally.
top, like,
Totally.
but yeah, at home, I feel most embodied, being honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a huge commonality among the people that we've interviewed, where they're like, I'm so happy in bed on top of a pile of clothes with my Switch, like it's just like, yeah.
So could you tell us a little bit about like your queer archival practice and maybe like how you got started in it?
I'm so excited. So looking back, even towards being like 17 and 18, I'll be like 29 this year, but I think there's been a theme of just very provocative. I had such an interest in the erotic and the provocative. And the way I started collecting, I was living in a punk house in 2017. I was like barely 21. It was in Oakland. And a roommate of mine was getting rid of a stack of magazines, and they gave me this like hairy girl fetish magazine. And I was like, what the hell is this? Just like girls like armpits and like hairy butts and thighs. And they're like, oh, I got this at Magazine in the Tenderloin, like off Larkin. So I went, which it doesn't exist anymore. but most of the gay stuff from there is housed at dark entries in case like listeners are visiting and they want to go like find some ephemera. But it was run by these older gay guys. They would have like readings in the shop. They had so many publications, very affordable back then. And I remember just like, I feel like the most socially accepted like gay erotica is like Tom of Finland, even by like straight people. Like they've seen it, they know it, they could name it. And I remember entering the store just thinking, okay, I want to find something not white, gay, male centered. So I came home with two things. One was this magazine called Passport, which was like a gay travel magazine. And this one was from 1989. I think it still exists now or ran past like into the 2000s. And then another one was Sierra Domino. So Sierra Domino was a publication from the Bay, and it was all nude black gay men. I hadn't seen anything like that like at that point in my life. And so I brought them home and I was really excited because I was like, okay, cool. This one has like all these like gay Asian guys, and then this one has all these like gay black guys, and there's like no white men in it whatsoever. And I showed it to my roommate who was older than me, and she kind of quickly pointed out like these are fetish magazines. And at 21, like I wasn't really thinking about that. I was just focused on like finding other bodies and like other representations at the time. And so it kind of like shifted for me. I was already hunting for things that were more people of color centered, but then that gave me an anchor in my search where I was like, well, I need to find things by and for people of color. Because then, I mean, Passport, like, it has like personal ads, and it's really young, like boys from like Thailand, and they're asking, they're like literally asking for like daddies to like fly them out to San Francisco to live like a new life, you know? So it's like, wow, it's for older white men shopping for like young Asian boys.
I didn't know that was a thing. That's so interesting. Okay.
And Sierra Domino, they're like definitely 70s like fonts, like graphic styles.
So good.
And I was really excited about this one until I did further research and found out that it was all started and photographed by a white gay guy with like a black male fetish. Yeah.
Wow. So your friend was right.
She was so spot on. And she's
That's so smart. I would have been like, yeah, these are great. Like so empowering. Like I love this. But it's like that is like I just forget that like race fetishism is totally like a thing.
Oh, you know? Yeah. And it's like usually back then in that decade, in that time period, like 70s, 80s, 60s, what have you, like it was usually white people with the money to publish and photograph and distribute things. They weren't like grassroots efforts. Like I have more things like that now that I've found. But, you know, that's like what happens when you live somewhere in the Bay. It's like I was 21, she was like 30 something, and I had to just like listen to somebody who like knew what was going on and like learn that way. And I didn't realize it, but that was kind of how it started, because I guess like right before Injections is when I seriously started collecting and searching for things. And that was a mess because I also collect records. So I had these moments where I was like, okay, bitch, like one or the other. Like you are a gig worker. Like you cannot be spending money like that.
On that note of like music and also like collecting records, I guess I wonder if you see that as also kind of fitting into your archival practice, or that's kind of like a separate thing, like you said.
You know, I think inherently, yeah. I've been collecting since I was 15, records specifically. And I remember my grandma like taking me to the garage because she was like excited. She's like, oh, I have these like records that have just been sitting here. And they were like, I ended up having some records that my mom played getting ready in the morning for high school, or like she really liked singing Strangers in the Night by Frank Sinatra in the kitchen, my grandma. And she was a good singer in my book because she was genuine, but like my grandpa hated it. So I would kind of
my
like
God.
purposely ask her to sing to like annoy him. But
From the top.
but yeah, I ended up with her copy of that Frank Sinatra record. So it is an archival practice. I'm like, oh, I bought this in high school, or I've been playing this since, 2016. And it is like a personal archive in that way. When I delve into certain genres and I really stick to an angle where I'm like, I want to build out this part of my collection, that does feel like an archival practice too.
How did you get into like zine making?
Screen printing came first. And then after building community through that, a lot of my friends were like risograph printers.
Whoa.
And I really appreciate some people's willingness to show you what they know. Like without that, I wouldn't really know how to do anything. Honestly. I like to watch people and learn that way. So yeah, zine making, I really believe in the power of print because you can do it yourself. You don't have to go through like any censorship or permission. You just have to have the access and the will. It's kind of like really someone with like an obsessive personality because like thrives in printing, it's like so many little parts of it that you have to be so particular about. So like putting that energy into a project can be really fun sometimes.
Yeah, totally. We did like a small run of gender spiral posters on Arizo with my friend. And I just remember being like, oh, wow, it just never lines up.
No, yeah. If you're not zen about it, like you will go crazy.
Yeah.
Like you have to show up being like, something's going to go wrong today.
Yeah.
Wow. Which is like how things kind of used to be. Like, we're kind of now so used to like being able to like curate things and like perfect them digitally, but like you just had to like fuck around and find out sometimes.
Totally.
I've never done any printing, but like I've been in like, being in the Bay, I feel like everyone does some form of like screen printing or visa printing. But I guess like for those listening, like, do you have any like recommendations for how to get started?
Yeah, I think first ask your people. Like you'd be surprised. Like people already know things you don't know. I learned at a center. It's in San Francisco. It's called Hospitality House, and it's funded by a homeless shelter. And you have access to like pottery, screen printing,
Wow.
like textiles. Like they're really encouraging. So I think there's also like public community spaces like that. They're kind of few and far in between, but just like don't be afraid to ask somebody who already does it. Like that's been my like most successful way of approaching it. There's usually like workshops. I feel like I know of things in the Bay and New York, like Secret Rezo Club in New York is a good resource, and they're really interested in like community programming. And in the Bay, there's like Tiny Splendor, which is cool because you could pay for a Rezo workshop, get certified to just like hang out in the studio on your own after that. And you can pay like a monthly fee and just go in there. And yeah, I think even the MoMA had like a freaking Rezo workshop day.
Whoa.
Like,
Yeah.
just random stuff like that. People have been into it. I think print's coming back. I think there's a huge interest in archiving. I hear people talk about it a lot. They're either archiving their personal life or, interested in visiting archives. A lot of our trans and queer history is being actively erased. So that's why I want to do this. I want to be a source, and I want to be like a place people can stop and be like, cool, I know like 5 new publications I can Google or go on the Internet Archive and learn about.
You do this thing on your website where you provide like a flash drive so that people can kind of own the files. What is behind that?
So I had my Instagram deleted, my previous one, because of the things I was posting. I decided to start seriously digitizing and sharing pages from my collection. and I was getting flagged a lot. Even if there wasn't censorship, there was keywords that like Meta's looking for.
Oh my God.
You can't even write dyke anymore, you know?
Oh
like,
my Wait.
so it's like, don't worry, we're protecting you. Like,
Oh my God.
we're protecting you from hate.
Yeah.
You see like the most racist comment you've ever seen, like right beneath that or something.
like pinned.
Yeah, but they misspelled it, and you're like, well, that didn't get flagged. Yeah.
Yeah, what if we start writing dyke like Duke?
Yeah. That's how language
like-
forms. Let's do it.
No, but yeah, I got my Instagram deleted for that. And I was like, well, fuck, like, let's go back to the source. Like, this is print. This still exists decades later. No one's like picking it up and taking a Sharpie and like blacking out things they don't want me or people to know. Like that like punk ethos of don't ask for permission. So with the USBs, I figured I'm digitizing these things already. I'm spending so much labor and time, and I want people to own them because they're so expensive. Like some of these things are like, I don't know, maybe the most I've spent on something is $100, but I would like not to.
Yeah,
It
totally.
deters me, and I have a special interest in it. So anyone who is just like mildly interested would never want to go down that rabbit hole. And so I'm kind of trying to make it affordable so you can have the access and the knowledge without scouring eBay or a bookstore and deciding if you're gonna like eat or buy that day, you know.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So yeah, the flash drive, it comes with a zine, and the zine has pages selected from the publications that you'll own on the flash drive.
Ooh.
And so it's like, okay, a little sneak preview. And then you plug in the USB and you just start like digitally flipping through these books.
Oh my God. That's
So cool.
That
Thank
is
you.
so cool. I feel like there's kind of this history of zine like making in queer history. You already mentioned that we're like actively being erased like on websites and stuff like that, but is there other like importance to you around like zine making in this kind of context of queer history?
Well, it's funny because I'm about to make a shift. I was so focused on the past that I was like, why aren't I preserving right now? You know, like my actual like trans friends in my life instead of these like people I'll probably never meet. But I think like this is a perfect example. I have this newsletter that at first was called Black Lesbian Newsletter, but it was later changed to Onyx. And
Ooh, yeah.
they would warn people about bars that were forcing Black gay people to provide 3 forms of identification to enter the club.
Oh my fucking.
So instead of going out with your friends to that new gay bar in the Castro in the 70s or the 80s and having your night ruined by racism, you could just like open the newsletter and be like, fuck that place, we're boycotting it. You know, like I think like the word of mouth aspect, the community offerings that I find like when I'm reading these old publications, that seems to be like an important part of the history for me when I'm going through it.
It's like lifelines and like modes of survival.
Yeah,
Now,
totally.
It's like very practical in that sense. But then also it's like beautiful and artistic and all those other things too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's like one example I can think of for sure.
Yeah.
And the last volume I did was a focus on trans health and like sexuality, and I put in these 2 digital zines about like homemade HRT. Wow. So shit like
What?
that, you know, like one of the first trans publications I found was written by this trans woman. She lives in like middle America.
Is that called identity management?
Identity Management and Transsexualism, a practical guide to managing identity on paper. So what she did was she self-published, and there's like a table of contents like how do you change your name on a passport, marriage and divorce, estate planning, insurance.
Oh my
and
God. This is my type.
Nice. Yeah. And this was published in 1994 in Pennsylvania. So that was like one of the first trans little publications I found. And I was like, that's fucking huge. Like,
Yeah.
you find that in your bookstore and you're maybe closeted or you're stealth or something, and that's something you're not going to know how to navigate. People hardly know how to navigate that now in
right.
Totally.
2025. And so that's like another example too of self-publishing and queer history and what it lends to each other. Like, if you don't have community, you have that paper, you have that text,
Totally.
Right. Backing up a little, could you tell us about this, like, from my archive series? So, like, that was from volume 2, which is like from my archive volume 2, transsexuals. Could you tell us about like volume 1, and also you're coming out with volume 3 now, right?
Yes. So volume 1, I was really fixated on the packaging. Like, I got like these manila envelopes and stamped them. And it was like, I wanted to feel like you're getting like a secret file, like- And that one was focused on gay. Like, it was like leather BDSM. Like, there was one book I found about, it's so funny. I think a lot of people back then existed in the comfort of like cross-dressing and drag.
Right.
And the ways transsexualism was referred to as like female mimics and like female impersonators.
Wow.
And there is a difference between being trans and being a drag queen. There's a huge difference. But I think a lot of people back then just like lived in that comfort of being like, I'm just a cross-dresser, I'm just a drag queen, like,
Right.
I love myself, I love my body, like, this is just an outlet, which that was like put in there because I was like, well, this seems to be written from an angle of gay male life. So the first focus, volume 1, was gay. It was just gay, homo, gay. And then number 2 was transsexuals.
Oh my God.
And I was like, okay, we're downsizing. Because the first one was like 8.5 by 11.
Whoa.
And I was like, girl, that was too much. And then, oh my God, I do want to show you though. I feel like I want to make a publication. This is so raunchy, but of just a bunch of photos of like T-dicks. I made the centerfolds.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I love it.
the ruler.
The ruler and the magnifying glass.
Yeah, the magnifying glass. I was like, hell yeah. Like, when was the last time you opened a zine and saw a T-dick,
Yeah, exactly.
And then this is going to be the new one. This is like all lesbian centered. So there's like a butch and femme relationship photography book, and I made that the centerfold.
Wow.
And there's other things. In the lesbian publications, I find a lot of sex workers were responsible for like the late 90s ones. So there's a lot of like talk about different ways to have sex and safe sex and sex work and doming that I found really interesting. Like, all these really cool publications just about like sexual freedom and preferences. So I included a lot of those in here. Like, these bitches are like, we're bisexual.
Wow.
Which is controversial still, maybe, but I feel like in the 90s for sure.
Wait, in what way?
To be like a bisexual lesbian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so with the sex work, were they like, we're bisexual, we make money having sex with cis men, and we also have our like lesbian lovers?
Yeah. Let's see. It's like, oh, they believe that feminism does not have to be neutered or sex negative. So they're like, there's positivity in our desires, basically,
Yeah.
no matter what they are. Have you guys seen the movie Go Fish? Is it Go Fish? Fuck, is that even the name? Oh my God, hold on.
You're like, oh shit, Finding Nemo.
Right.
Oh, so you have. Okay, yeah, it is the name. It is the name. It's from 1994.
Ooh.
It's based in Chicago. It's a lesbian film. But there's a part in the movie where this one dyke gets cornered by all the lesbians and basically bullied because they found out she still fucks guys.
Oh my
But she's
God.
doing it in such a like dyke way, like.
Right.
And so there's so many parts of that film. I think like Watermelon Woman is such a classic like must see, and I think Go Fish is in that territory for me because the same lead white girlfriend love interest. Like she's the love interest in Go Fish. Like, she was making the rounds back then. Yeah.
Right.
But that scene is so important to me. I remember seeing it for the first time. And this dyke, this like leather dyke is like defending her sexuality and then just feeling ousted and like kind of like all these women are like, you have betrayed us or like you've put us in like sexual danger. And so putting that conversation in a movie in the mid 90s, I think was like really powerful too.
Do you feel like that's like still a debate that's like still a thing? I guess this is like a question for all of us. Like, is that really still?
You know,
Are guys,
it's funny.
I don't know.
Tell me what you think.
Well, I don't know. I feel like in some ways we've moved past it with kind of like the label of like queerness and things being so fluid. It feels like there's not this like protectiveness against like lesbianism maybe that there used to be, in the sense of like this is an identity that we have fought so hard for, kind of like on some like turfy shit, you know, of like we have to like defend this shit. And I guess I mean turfs obviously still exist, but I guess like in your guys' lives, if you feel like that's still like relevant, or is that like a relic of the 90s type of thing?
Ollie, what do you think?
It feels similar to the like transitioning kind of fears where you're like, oh no, are lesbians mad at me because I've like ditched them and I'm like aligning with malehood or something, you know, like it's kind of a similar thing. Like sleeping with men are kind of becoming more masculine.
Yeah.
Both of those things. But I think in my personal friend group, I haven't felt that. But I do like the whole move of the Flint, like the inclusive labels that they have to include like all different people, like trans guys, lesbians, like in like lesbian bar spaces is important because there is pushback. It's just not from people that I personally know.
Yeah. This is going to be so controversial.
I
love old school turf. I'm like, you're going to die on that hill. Like, you are going to die on that
Wait,
hill.
from a like durational performance standpoint?
You gotta respect like commitment to a bit. Like
no, but like, okay. Personally, if you don't know an older dyke, like, go find one. But like, it's part of our history. It's just part of our history.
Interesting.
As a trans guy, like, I identified so much with like butchness and like that being the way I understood my manhood, whatever. But that's part of our history. There are women who like fought really hard to like present masc and like had to convince people they didn't want to be a man, that they're still a woman, and that's just how they express their womanhood. And that like,
and it wasn't like penis envy.
Yeah,
like they're just like they fought their whole life against that.
They had to fight. And like, yeah, it's controversial to say, but I get it. Like, you know, that's like that generation that was being like sexually assaulted or like gang assaulted by men because they dressed like a man or like put in jail. Or, like, you know what I mean? Like, not to go that far back, but that fight and that anger that they carry, like, okay, girl, like, die on that hill. You're valid. You know, you're so valid.
I think that's why I'm so impressed with people like Eileen Miles or Judith Butler, who are they, them now at this point in their life. And you're like, not that that's true of every butch ever, that's that they are they, them. Like, obviously not at all. But for those where it is, I bet that was kind of like a hard decision at a certain point in your life of just being like, okay, I know just the kids are doing this, but it also feels true for me, and this is so not my context, or like, you know, like, my friends are not doing this.
Yeah, to like go with that flow and be like, you know what? I am non-binary.
Yeah.
And you're like, and you're like in your 60s or 70s.
A
like,
19-year-old is like flossing on the bus, and you're like, I guess me too. I'm also they, them. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, I love that someone could live all those decades and embrace that new ideology. But you know, it's funny. I think also as a trans masc, I don't know if this happens for trans women. I think I've dealt a lot while I've been coming into myself, projections on my sexuality. Like, oh, if you fuck that person, you're straight. If you fuck that person, you're a gay guy.
Yeah.
Wait, why are you going out with that person? Aren't you a gay guy? Like, you know, like, it's like, damn, bitch, I'm like everything. Like, calm down, you know? Like, don't worry. Like,
Yes.
So I think there's still that need for people to want to put you in a box or decide who you should fuck and how that validates your transness, which I try to like stay away from or like not let fuck with me.
Totally.
Right, totally. I actually do think it's still like a contentious thing because also I'm over here being like, everyone's so accepting, everyone's so queer. And it's like, I have multiple friends who are like lesbians who are like dating men right now or like whatever. Like, and I do clown the fuck out of them. So actually, let me step back.
Let me reel that in. Let me reel that in.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna clown the fuck out of you, but not in an actual like real way of like, oh my God, I don't fuck with you. I'm just like,
Totally.
because all my friends are just dating some guy. Like, do you guys have that? Like, everyone I know
hate that.
is dating just like some dude. I'm like, where did you find him? Like, where did you find this man?
That's the thing about being a trans guy. It's like, fuck, am I just like some guy now? Like,
No,
Yeah,
you're
totally.
not. It's not you. These are all cis men. You guys are more than that. Okay?
You guys are different.
You guys are different.
Thank you, babe.
I really love your love of print and like the power of print and like your belief in that. I think that's so important. And I'm curious what your thoughts are on like social media, this internet age. Yeah, okay, I figured, but I'm like, there's so much access to so many things. And even when you were talking about like the bars that were asking for triple ID and were like racist, I'm like, there's still some of that on Instagram. Like you'll see like a call out, but I'm just seeing so much garbaggio. I'm seeing ads. I'm seeing, you know, like it gets lost. And I'm like, a newsletter sounds so quaint. It like actually massages my brain to imagine only having like that much info.
And there's like hyperlinks and italics and like bullet points, you know. You don't have to like get on Canva and make that like infographic we've seen so many times.
Yeah. Like if someone is just like, we can see all this stuff online and digitally. Like I learned about Onyx on TikTok. Like there is some cool stuff circulating, but it's like, why is print still important? Like if you were kind of, if someone to ask like, well, why do we even need that if we have social media, you know?
Just sell it. Let's talk about it from the angle of Meta. Meta is Trump's bitch, you know. Meta's like
Right.
like Zuckerberg, Trump, like wet dream. Like if you think social media is the way to work around propaganda, it can be a tool to combat propaganda. I think that's why posting about like Palestine and like Gaza is so important, because you are constantly publishing something that's against what the government wants you to know or like controlled for you to consume. So there is still that. I think like I'll give it that.
Right.
But you're still going to get shadow banned, silenced, deleted, told what you can and can't post. No one's going to do that to you at a printer, you know, like
Right.
the Epson printer is not going to like eject your USB,
Freeze your account.
you know,
Yeah, totally.
and like spit out a bunch of blank pages, you know, like I don't know. It's just, I think the power of print is literally bypassing censorship. I think that's just like the biggest thing. Like how many political zines have you been given for free at marches where you learn something about what you're marching for that you wouldn't have known otherwise? The other day I was like, can we bring back Tumblr? But apparently that's getting like really censored now.
No, I was going to bring up Tumblr of like, wasn't that kind of a golden age? But
that was crazy.
That shit was crazy. Porn on Tumblr?
Porn on
Tumblr?
Oh my God. That was the first time I saw like a fisting video.
Wow.
Yeah. As like a middle schooler.
I was eating that shit up.
Or like, fuck yeah, Chad Michael Murray.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Fuck yeah, whatever name. Yeah. Fuck yeah, Hunter Biden.
That's your Tumblr, huh? That's the Tumblr you're on.
Sorry about it. Find out.
Yeah, I think also on social media, it's a good way to be like, fuck this bar. Like, we got like assaulted because we're trans. Or like, there's this person I follow on Instagram. Their name is evading me right now, but they're in New York and they'll do the clown of the week, which is like some crazy dude that's like preying on trans women or like, you know, violent.
Oh my
like,
God.
I think social media is really good for that. I might be getting into the territory of cancel culture, which is really sensitive, but just warning people about spaces or community members, and also still fighting against propaganda and censorship. Like social media is still a tool for that, for sure.
Right.
But print can't be deleted. Like, what if the internet goes down? What if we're in like Last of Us era? Like, bitch, come to my house. I have all this gay
Exactly.
porn, you know? Like,
Exactly.
don't worry. It's in a, fireproof box.
Yeah.
That's like my continued investment in the medium of radio too. I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
you bitches wait till we don't have fucking screens, and
Yeah,
like you want to
just
hear
wait.
like your midday soap operas, like from the
Right.
bunker. Like,
Oh my God.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
Yes, from the bunker. Just
Yeah,
like,
What if we
exactly.
all operated under the assumption that like the internet's just gonna go dark one day?
I kind of am operating under that assumption. It is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the vibe.
Same.
Not to get dark. Yeah.
No, do it.
yeah. When TikTok was going to go away, people really had like a reckoning.
I got really
And we're
scared.
just like,
Oh
gosh.
but
But
that was really funny. Yeah.
it is true. Like data is being hosted by one company. And so they can just kind of not do that anymore.
I will say the Internet Archive keeps going under fire, like
Yeah.
the lending, the digital aspect of the library and the lending books. You can check out a book for an hour and it automatically digitally sends it back for you. Like you don't have to worry about
Wow.
it. And so all these publishing companies, I don't know, this like money hungry capitalist mindset of like, well, you can buy that.
Right.
Like you can go, it's like, girl, you can go to the library. It's just a digital library. So they were under fire this last 2 years where they had to go to court to like fight to keep the lending library. And some publishers axed it and like pulled their titles. So
Which ones?
like Penguin.
yeah.
Yeah, even something as precious as the Internet Archive that's tended to daily, hourly, minute by minute is in danger because of greed.
Yeah.
And like I said, these publications I buy, they're in danger because of greed, because of the prices, because of like, a lot of people, when I ask older people in the collection game, also for listeners, when you're in San Francisco, you should definitely visit Autoerotica in the Castro. It's not queer centered, it's mostly like cis gay centered, but it's a good place to buy publications, find publications for an affordable price and like support a grumpy old man.
Period.
A grumpy old leather daddy
Period.
that will like yell at you for taking photos inside. But he's told me like the way I find these things a lot of the time is someone calls me and says they're in the trash or there's an estate
Whoa.
sale or, family members who hate that their family member was gay. They just want to throw it all away because they don't want to preserve or
my
like,
God. Totally. That makes
face
total sense.
that truth.
Okay, I have one more question for you. I'm gonna ask about like kind of communities. So
The C word.
The C word.
in this season, we're kind of, we've talked about like the bunker and like, the importance of like print media if things go offline. I think that's kind of like one of the arcs we're looking at this season is like, how do we strengthen community? Like when it feels like the world is kind of falling apart. And I guess like, do you have any thoughts on that as it relates to your work and your practice? Like, are zines going to save us? Like, I guess how are you even building community amidst like these like moments of just like, it feels like the world is falling apart?
Zines could save us to a certain extent. Meet outside of the club during the day. That's like I'm like, can we like be friends not in a loud room where we're paying like $15 a cocktail,
Right.
I think that's like something I've been focusing on a lot is like moving away from relying on seeing people out at a social event, building community offline. It's a little hard because I think you need to be social and there's so many shy guys
Totally.
out there.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think that's where the zine comes in handy because you can like read it instead of talk to somebody.
Yeah, I think like building your tolerance for not being like at a club with booming music where like conversation is limited. I think I can kind of like enjoy that limitation sometimes because my social anxiety and my kind of like, do I really know this person? Like small talk. I don't know. Sometimes I just get really in my head. And the idea of being like, let's meet for coffee one-on-one. Sometimes I'm like,
Okay, so I'm the opposite. You like the club interactions? I hate club interactions. I'm like,
Yeah.
let's sit down and talk about like your mom. Like, you know what I mean?
I would love to go deep, and I do love that too. And that's kind of like the most fun nights is like when you end up somewhere after the party where there's like actually room to talk, like at a park bench or whatever. But yeah, I feel like intentionally hanging out, especially in LA, people are really flaky. It's kind of hard to like make plans, make time. And so, yeah, just building that comfort level around like intentionally hanging out with people and doing stuff sounds like it's really helpful.
You know what's funny? There's times where like if someone deactivates their Instagram and they come back and you're like, oh, you exist.
Yes.
You know? And like there's so many like little social friendships where like you just exist in my DMs, and I love that we don't ever have to like take it out of there. But there was a moment, and I never actually used it, where I made a list in my notes app of people I wanted to intentionally hang out with outside of social media.
Yes.
Still haven't tended to it, but it was a cute idea.
Yes.
Like it's like, oh, you know what? Like, I want to be more intentional. Let me make a list of people who like I would want to like walk around the lake.
Yeah, totally.
Know more about. And like, I don't know, maybe even that's a good place to start. But I think in general, like recently me and this collective, we organized a DJ day at the lake.
Oh my God, fun.
To talk about kind of like hormone distribution. Like my goal for the day was like, let me make a couple more trans friends so that if I'm in need of like syringe and needles for injections last minute and I can't get them, like I have someone to ask for that, or like just like more people in your arsenal that you can rely on. And how do you do that?
Totally.
Like, how do you do that if you haven't known each other for long? I feel like I'm still answering that.
Yeah. I kind of feel like the answer is what you said, which is like that notes app list you have, like as hard as it is, like acting on it or like trying to find an excuse to act on it. Sometimes you need an excuse just to like have a conversation with someone. And I do find that like interviewing really lends itself to, this sounds like so manipulative now. It's like,
it's not
to become friends with people, but it's
scary.
Like my list is just the guest list for this podcast. And it's worked out pretty well. So.
Well, I'm really glad you did. I'm glad you invited me. I was really excited. And the first episode I listened to was the Roberta Colindres.
One,
when it came out, I think. Yeah, I've been a fan, and it's so cool to be part of the podcast now with all these other great people. And I love these conversations. Like, these are the conversations I love to have about gender and transness and people who really get it. You know?
Yeah, totally. I really enjoyed this whole conversation with Sasha. It was incredible. We wanted to circle back around, and we have a guest that's going to be showing up later on in this season. So we just had a continuation of the conversation, and very excited to just be chatting with like a close personal friend at the end of the episode.
They're actually just like in our living room, like just chilling,
They rang my doorbell, and I was like, "Can we just like chew on something together really quick?" And what came out was really beautiful.
So good, so good.
I'm Judith Butler. I've been teaching at the University of California at Berkeley for a long time. I hold a grant there trying to develop a counter-imaginary in authoritarian times. And so I'm really interested these days in academics and artists and activists all getting together to talk about how we not only regenerate ourselves, but what kind of world and life do we want to be generating through our practices and our visions.
We've been thinking a lot about intergenerational struggles between like queer and trans communities. And something that we've been thinking about, it's like a topic that's been coming up a lot on the podcast. Do you think it's important for like maybe our generation to have like some empathy for like elderly, like turfy, kind of old school butches. Like someone brought this up on the podcast, someone we interviewed, they like archive like queer memorabilia. So they're looking at all these old zines and things like that. And like they brought up the really important point about how like butch lesbians historically have had to fight to not be seen as quote unquote men, right? Like as women who are just butch. And I'm thinking about how they might have like put somewhat like intense guardrails up around their own gender and how that kind of maybe backfired into becoming hateful to people who express like more freedom with gender, if that makes sense. So I just wonder if you have any thoughts on that. Like, should we as younger queers have empathy? Do they just need to get their shit together? Like, what do you think about that?
I find it really painful, actually, because it's older butches to some degree, and to some degree not at all.
Right.
You know, I know people even older than me, butches who've like opened their minds and like these are our allies. And
not everybody.
This is about alliance, you know, and we all need to stick together. But, you know, the folks who are unwilling to make alliance because of some deep-seated refusal, like that form of, it's a turfism, obviously, but it actually plays into, as you know, the right-wing script, but it also breaks alliance precisely at the moment when anybody can see, you know, with a decent analytic framework, that the attack on abortion, the attack on gay and lesbian rights, the attack on trans people, the erasure of intersex people from legibility medically and legally, that these are interconnected struggles. And we can spend our time working out our problems, like, I'm upset about that, or it doesn't seem right, and where have all the butches gone? We can do all that if we really need to, I suppose. But it's really got to be to the side of a massively clear alliance. So what I can't speculate on all the reasons some older femmes, some older butches are like no to trans, except that there's a territory that they fought for and that they live in that makes them feel safe. But ceding territory is part of what we do as people who seek to become more expansive, who don't want property to guide our actions and don't regard identities as property. Right? This is we need to uproot all those property relations from our discourse. I understand that sometimes people have been dispossessed of their property or their land, need to like lay claim to territory. There's, you know, it's not like I'm against all ways of thinking about territory, but in these particular political debates, it seems to me that there are property relations and defensive forms of anxiety and hatred that take the place of allowing oneself to be challenged, to think anew, to hear somebody who's got a different life history than you, especially if that's somebody from the next generation. I mean, we need to be open to being unsettled. Otherwise, we're not alive. We're fossilizing. So I don't know. I mean, do I still call myself a butch lesbian? Maybe under certain occasions. Yeah, probably. But yeah, there was always that question, like, what do I do about the masculinity that's in this? I never said, I'm definitely not a man, I'm a woman. It's like, no, my lesbianism made me call into question the man-woman thing. Like, you know, that was what it was for me. And there's always been that strain. Right. And then there's a woman-centered strain, which is very different. You know, I have pals I call super lesbians who just are like in that frame, you know, and they live there and they're super happy there. But, you know, getting disturbed and rethinking your presumptions is part of what it means to be alive and critical.
Absolutely.
And it's the potential for alliance, and we need alliance more than ever.
Huge thank you to Sasha Fuentes. We've put links in the show notes to his Instagram @36Sasha, which we've also spelled out for you in the show notes. We've also linked to their web store where you can purchase their amazing screen printed shirts and their zines, including the one we just talked to them about today, From My Archive, Volume 2, Transsexuals. Also, another huge thank you to the legendary Judith Butler for weighing in there at the end. They'll be back for our season finale in December, so be sure to stay tuned for that.
Gender Spiral is an original podcast from Audiation. This episode was mixed by Matt Noble. Theme music is composed by Chanel Kirchlow, remixed by Daria Lord. Additional music by Command Jasmine, courtesy of Molten Heart, with art by Joey Hahn and graphics by Michael Tyrone Delaney.
The show is executive produced by Ireland Meacham, myself, Babette Thomas, and my co-host Ali Beardsley, along with Sandy Smullins, with some additional story editing from Susie Armitage.
If you want to help us out, you can rate or review us wherever you're listening to us right now, and follow us on Instagram at Gender Spiral to get notified about new episodes.
And be sure to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/genderspiralpodcast. For $2 a month, you can listen to the entire back catalog of Gender Spiral episodes ad-free. Plus, you can get access to our Discord community. Higher tiers will get you exclusive bonus content, plus gifts from us like these cute little monthly postcards and free merch.
You can also check us out at genderspiralpod.com, where you'll find transcripts for each episode and a link to leave us a voicemail. And you can shop our merch store.
Audiation.